welcome to the show and the party. This is Dreamscaper Prologue. It's the next up in our roguelike sort of adventure series we're going through. This is another one in early access, but another, I think, pretty solid one, at least for what's here so far. The premise of this one is going to be that you go to sleep and then in your dreams the action sort of starts to develop. I don't quite know the story itself. I haven't paid too much attention to it, just because that's sort of how I do with some of these things. Roguelikes especially, I'm there for the mechanics, not so much the story. And to be fair, most of them don't have one. I think this one has a pretty substantial one compared to those. Hades would be another example of one that has a pretty good one, even though I'm constantly referencing that game, but Hades is fantastic. So this here is set up a bit different too, because what you have is you randomly start with a weapon, and as you go to the normal world, your waking world, you'll go to different people and talk to them and give them gifts, and then they'll sort of unlock the ability to have different weapons and upgrades and stuff like that. I've never used the hammer. This is a new one. I've never gotten this one before. But you'll notice as I swing, and if you hit right when you glow, you'll do a, I think, stronger or a more agile follow-up attack. I can't exactly tell. Most of these enemies don't have, I don't think they have life bars. I say that now. No, they don't. So I don't quite know what they're doing. But you have that. You have a shield, which you can also reflect and block with and parry and all that. Strong attack, regular attack. You also have a ranged weapon of some sort, which will also be random. I think this one's a finger gun. No, this is a slingshot. You have bombs you pick up as well. Those will break down the rocks and stuff, which will give you different materials, which you'll use to craft items, which you'll give as gifts, which will then unlock the other items and stuff that you can get on different runs. This is, I think I said, but this is also an early access. There is a demo out, so this one you can also play now if you wanted to, and there's a supporter edition that's, I think, $5, which will give you another additional level set and another boss, I believe, and then there's more items and stuff that come with that, which I highly recommend doing. I think this is another one that feels really good, and based on what's here so far, I think it's shaping up to be pretty solid. They've also updated the prologue a couple times, I think, already, which came out at the beginning of this month. I'll have to look again and see. I'm pretty bad about remembering developers, but I'll have to look up and see who actually developed this one. As you'll see coming into here, we have sort of different stuff. I can't really afford anything yet because it just started, but that'll be sort of your item system or storefront, more or less. One thing about this game I like is you can also teleport, which is the thing I've seen in a couple roguelikes nowadays. Dead Cells does it. I think Enter the Gungeon did it. There's quite a few that do that, but it's a nice thing to have, because some of that stuff is, especially the ones that are like room based, generally once you clear the room there's really no reason to go back to that specific room, or having to trek through it is just cumbersome for no reason. So it's nice that that's here. Oh, I believe that's, oh, this one's a challenge one. I gotta defeat this guy in a certain amount of time. Oh, I don't think I'm gonna do it. Well, maybe I will. No, these guys have pretty big health pool. Oh, right before it. I didn't realize that was the timed one, otherwise I would have kept going, but you also have, there's keys involved. You'll find those throughout the level. Those will unlock certain rooms. This one's like a chest, I think, so this one will just give you an item outright. Yeah, sure. I don't think I have anything on there yet. You also have two abilities, I believe, which I think there might actually be three. There's like an overall, I think this one like slows down time, and then you have, which that's that meter under your health there. There is this one, and then there is whatever that one is, which is the one I think it just picked up. There's also, which was a nice addition, is these like little puzzle rooms. I mean, they're not anything too difficult, but it is a nice way to sort of break up the game. Oh no, that's gonna be. Ooh. Oh yeah, duh. And then that'll give you another item. So, you know. We'll swap that out. This game gives you the ability to recycle items, which is I'm a huge fan of in these type of games, because a lot of runs you'll get stuff you just have no use for. And it is super helpful to be able to just change it out and get something else that you can use, or at least put it towards something that you would like to build out better. It's the one thing I think Realm of the Dead Gods would help that game quite a bit. I think that game's already really good. Oh, I did not mean to go straight to the boss. Oh, I guess I don't have to. I can still leave out. I think. Can I not? Oh, I can't. I have to have cleared the room to do it, I think, is what that's telling me. Or maybe it's just from the boss room you can't. I don't know. But yeah, that game would benefit greatly from being able to recycle items. I should have blocked that. Tried to deflect it, but it didn't do that. There you go. Those ones are pretty much like a one-hit kill on those, at least for the first stage, if you can deflect. It may look, and it did it first to me too. It felt a little slow, like the way that the combat worked. But I think once you get used to it, it feels pretty good. I think they could speed it up a little bit more. With not, I mean, obviously this is a two-handed mace, so that's going to be a slow weapon anyway. But I think even some of the other ones, they could use a little tweaking. But again, with this being in early access, they have plenty of time to do that. And so far, I think what they do have is really good. Crashing waves. I like this one because this is sort of gives you a different dodge. As you can see, instead of a roll, you have like a shadow step, which is nice. I'm not gonna warp because this is gonna be one room over anyway. But overall, I mean, again, another fun. Oh, this switches my weapon, eh? Yeah, that's better. Recycle that. I'll take one trip to the store to see if I can get anything worthwhile, and then I'll head to the boss right after that. That's good. Oh, I can't afford that though. I guess I'll just take the health. That's probably the easiest thing. I'll take another bomb. And yeah, we'll get out of here. Boss fight's not too bad. This first one's pretty simple. Especially once you get the pattern, it's not so bad. I say that and then watch me just die throughout the whole thing. I'm gonna go ahead and skip the cutscene so you can see that yourself. I think that's a pretty neat one. But so this one, effectively the strategy here, just get these bombs, make sure he gets out of the water, attack him as much as you can. Damn, this katana actually does a pretty good hit. Got that there. I'm not sure actually if the scarf has any bearing on it, if it's like a journey type thing where it extends or doesn't depending on like health or something or other. I don't quite know. Ah, should have stayed there. This is where I think the next one I'll probably slow down time whenever it happens. Should be a beam, yeah. It's not always that. There's like it's you know random. It's not a super. The fight's not always the same, I should say. But generally, the moveset is the same. I missed that one. It's probably gonna miss. You go to this one. Ah, damn it. Okay, here we go. I got him on this one. There we go. Should have slowed down time for that. That'll give me a good set of attacks there. Some good damage. Before that runs out. Turn it off. This fight was kind of tricky the first couple times I did it, but now I've got it pretty much to a science. Slow down time again actually, because I got a good chance. He's not gonna die there now. That's alright though, we're close. Oof, I thought that was too late. Too early, I mean, rather, on that one. Oh man, I felt like that would have triggered it. There we go. That might have killed him. Yeah. Again, I'll go ahead and skip that so you guys can experience that on your own time. Heart container, yeah, I'll take that. Man, I can't really... Oh, I can recycle that though. That's good. I didn't know that. Alright, we'll go ahead and ascend to the next level. I'll show you what happens in the in-between stages and maybe the first bit of the next stage, which I think is the supporter one, and then we'll call it there, because I don't want to give too much of it away so you can experience it, because like I said, the prologue itself is free, so you can try this out now if you really want to. But I'll show you what happens in the in-between. So you sort of have these different locations you can go to. There's going to be different NPCs there. You talk to them or give them gifts. Actually, let me show you that first just in case, because I might have some gifts I can give to them. So yeah, you have a crafting thing here. Another good one, you can toggle what's available to craft, which is always a welcome addition. That seems like a good one. I kind of like it gives you more benefit with them, different ones, but I've just kind of went through and just made random stuff because I think you can give anything to anyone. I don't know that it makes a difference. But you'll go here, there'll be people, you can kind of talk to them. You chat with them for a little bit, and that'll improve your standing with them, and then you can give them a gift, which will further improve their standing. I think if I give them one more, I should, yeah, get to the next tier. And then you'll have a bit of a scene here. I'm going to, again, skip this just so you can save it for yourself. And then that'll show me my next item, and then the one after that when I continue my relationship with this person. Which is neat. Again, I haven't paid too much attention to the story. Some of it, like this, me and this girl just talked about comic books the first time. And that was pretty much it. You know, just saying that she, you know, she's glad she found a friend, that kind of thing, which is sweet. Little chit chat. As you'll notice too, though, the time at the top will go by, so you can only do a certain amount of this in a day, and then you have to go back home and go to sleep, which is typical of the world. And then you'll go back to sleep, and then that'll put you in your next stage, which we'll go to, and like I said, we'll see what happens there. One thing also that I do like about this transitionary period is if you are continuing the run, you get to keep everything. Which was, there was a game what was that game? It's another roguelike, obviously, but I'm trying to think of what it was. There was one where you don't keep everything on the run, and that was like, I don't know, it did something about that really took me out of the flow of the game. What was that game, man? I'll have to keep thinking about it. I can't remember. The enemies on this second stage are way harder though. They take way more damage. They also have like different ailments, it seems like, that they'll do to you. Or it seems that way anyway. And maybe it would be better if I there we go. Put a bomb down for this one. I'm really trying to think hard of what that game was, but it would, every time you would conquer what you were doing, or beat the level rather, it would reset all of your stuff, and it would just, it felt, I don't know, I wish that game had just a continual mode where you didn't have that happen. Because it really takes you out of the whole experience, I think, by having that happen. I'll try and look it up. It's so bothersome. I'm sure I'll cover that game at some point. I just I wish I could remember offhand what it was. Looks like the boss is in that room too. I actually don't know that I've seen the second boss in this game, now that I think about it. May not have made it there. And I might not here too. I might die beforehand, because I'm going to at least try and check out all the levels as I tend to do in all these type of games. It's never not been beneficial. It seems. Oh, these things are shitheads. The ones, they like disappear. Fuck. I was doing so good on that block before in that first, or that last level. There we go, that was a good one. Didn't turn around fast enough. Oof. Oh, and I assume that hurts me. I'm gonna try it. Oof. Oof. I'm so close to dying. Whew. Ah, there it is. I didn't see the second boss again. Yeah, so you'll wake up, you'll lose everything, you'll have to start over. Typical of roguelike games. But yeah, like I said, this one's really neat. I think it's worth checking out again. Another early access one, so that's always a bit of a risk. But again, it is free for the demo now, and then the supporter pack is like $5, which I assume they'll give you some kind of discount for doing that whenever the game comes out. I don't know that they've explicitly said that, but I assume that they would. And yeah, I definitely think it's worth checking out. I think it's one that you should keep an eye on, and yeah, support these guys. I remembered what it was. It was Children of Morta, and that game is fantastic. But that is the caveat I would say with that game is it does not. Your runs don't continue once you finish them. So if you get to the point where you've won a boss or something, you go back, go through dialogue, do all this, and I'll cover this game too. But yeah, that game is really enjoyable. But there's something about that just takes you out of the whole experience because it doesn't seem like you're on a good run. Like you get a hint of it, but your run is always going to end, especially if you're doing well. So if they had like an endless mode or something of that nature, that would really make that game much more enjoyable. And I'll show you what yeah, this game here. I have it. It's on Game Pass, so if you want to try it, but yeah, it's just there's just something about it that makes it feel less good. Also, I own this on Switch, and the Switch version of this has its fair share of issues, audio issues hang up. There's been a couple times where I've been on really good runs, and the game has just crashed, almost because I was doing so good. And that's not true. I mean, I was doing well, but it was still just like frustrating that it ended because of that. But it as a game is great. It's just that little thing kind of ruins the entire experience. And I wish that it didn't have that, or that they would add a feature that would make that not be the case, because everything else about that game is really interesting. But again, we'll get into that further when I actually cover that game. But for now, that's the one I was thinking of, and I wanted to not leave you guys hanging because I was driving me nuts. But that's what it was.